started loose on the first delivery. Very, very close for the Pakistan skipper. The task that was difficult at the beginning of the innings has become even more difficult after Sam's departure. And back to the old four, Rizwan and Babar, battle it out for Pakistan.
Bowled. Again, look where Lord Tucker has taken that. He's dived down that leg side, and you can see the little gestures from Babar Azam, just saying to Rizwan, look, it's jagging back this. It's coming back. It's two that's jagged back from outside the off stump.
Perfect areas from marker there, just slightly back of a length, looking for the seam movement rather than the swing, which Pakistan was looking earlier on with the new ball. They provided that length to the batters to go hard, but this length, back of a length, and little bit of seam movement has troubled Babar Azam already.
It's the one that drifts away. So a few questions being asked here by Mark Adair. The end of the first over. It's 6 for 1. Saim Ayub is gone.
There's always been a thought in the Pakistan camp, or there has been a thought that with Babar and Rizwan, since they've been split in by Saim Ayub, what would be the case if Saim gets early? Is there a case of bringing Fakhr in early? But Pakistan has been guilty of not being very flexible in their top of the order. And Andrew was talking about the results since that World Cup final at the MCG. It's probably one of the reasons they couldn't have figured out what is the right approach. And doing that, they haven't been very flexible with the order.
Is Graham Watt not a controlled stroke by any means?
Rizwan, first delivery, goes after it. Once again, movement in the air as well for Hume. That attempted onside log ended up at deep third. That's Rizwan's favorite area that he wanted to go. It went exactly opposite to that.
It's an amazing looking stroke because you can see the intention, but he's not at all fazed by the fact that it's flown over third. Graham Hume didn't play in the first match. Smacks it over. Extra.
Superb effort. Excellent effort. But this is one thing these two will do. They will run brilliantly between the wickets. They got perfect understanding. Once again, guilty of hitting the ball at catchable height.
Harry Tector was the fielder. Just starting to rain again here. Yeah, Harry Tector, such a good fielder. Short, pulled round by Rizwan.
Rizwan will give the Irish bowler something different to think about because he can be very unorthodox, especially that pickup shot that he's developed. That is his go-to shot to find big boundaries. Anything remotely closer to his middle and leg, he'll go for that. For error for Hume is very little against him. Babar, although you have to say, for 3 delivery, he hasn't found that rhythm just yet.
They're going up, so's the finger. The Pakistan skipper has gone cheaply. Ireland are all over Pakistan early on.
Wow, what a big blow. Babar Azam fails for 1. Couldn't cope with that bounce and movement from Hume. Just stayed on that front foot and looking for that front foot cut shot. It got big on him, got the edge. and was safely paused. This is a massive moment in the game.
Rizwan can only watch his skipper walking off. Babar Azam has gone for naught. Pakistan are 13 for 2.
Back of a length delivery. Look at the delight on his face. Making an appearance in the series and getting the big fish, Babar Azam.
Oh, that's the delighted Graham Hume, and Ireland have really got stuck into Pakistan, who are chasing 194 to beat Ireland to level this series. Sam Ayub went for 6. Good catch taken by Curtis Camphor at a mid-wicket. That was off marker there, and now Lorcan Tucker holds on to one from Babar Azam. It means Fakhar Zaman comes in. Effectively, he's opening the batting virtually, which he's done for a long time in his career.
He has, and he won't be feeling this role. Nothing new to him. Natural opener in the longer format in the 50 overs game as well. That's middle order in T20 cricket, but he does like to take some time. So is it a blessing in disguise? But you wouldn't think so when looking at the score and the kind of total they're chasing. Pakistan is really looking down the barrel.
The ball has just darted around a little bit of shape. We saw some shape from Marker there, and now from Graham Hume with that one that just sort of lifted and went away from the bat of Babar Azam.
You remember it did rain towards the back end of that Ireland innings, and the umpire continued to play on. That little shower might have freshened things up with the new ball. It's a little bit for the bowlers.
That will go for 4.
Well, Pakistan at least showing the intent despite the loss of the wicket. Babar very proactive, gets his innings off with a boundary. 2 gone, 17 for 2. Looks like Pakistan has decided to continue to attack. This is one of the areas that have been really criticized in recent times, that they hold back for far too long and every time they end up a few runs short. This time, although they're chasing, so they know what they're getting. 2 huge wickets inside the first 2 overs. Rizwan will have to play one of his very best innings.
The effect it also has on the bowler at the other end. That's what you've got to think about as well. Marker there here. When you know that your bowler at the other end has just picked up the big scalp of Babar Azam, you want to join the party as well. Yes, he's removed Saim Ayub. You want to do it just gives you a little bit of incentive when you've got the ball in your hand as the accompanying bowler.
And you being a bowler, you know that as a team, when you keep getting wickets at regular intervals, it keeps everyone buoyed on their toes.
It certainly does.
Rizwan again looking to hit across the line. There is definite movement there. In the air and off the seam as well. Rizwan lining up the length as soon as the ball leaves the bowler's hand, but he can't do it because it just moves a little bit right at the end. That attempted stroke inside edge onto the pads. It's the sun just breaking through here at Clontarf.
You see that ball shaping nicely, and Rizwan giving it respect. Just having a look at it. Can't take liberties against the ball that's behaving like this. It's good bowling this from Marker there.
which is absolutely superb. As I said, unlike the Pakistan bowlers who were earlier on looking for swing, pitching a fuller length, but yeah, for length, relying more on seam movement, and there is some for them. He's playing late on that occasion. Probably he's just realized the time is not right to attempt those big shots while that movement is still on. To Adair's credit, he's been spot on with his lines and lengths. Pakistan don't have many options. They're chasing a huge totals. So don't have a lot of time to waste. At the same time, not losing any more wickets.
Desperation that was, but calculated desperation. It's 6 over long off. Well, you might say it's measured desperation because Rizwan was tired of being bowled at, and he's taken the attack to the bowl this time. Lovely, lovely footwork here from Rizwan. Just see how he comes down the pitch.
Beautiful release of the hands as well, because that outward movement, he was not looking to go across. This time he went with the tide over mid-off and all the way.
Bowled. Good riposte into the pads.
Even that previous delivery, it wasn't a bad delivery from Adair. It's just Rizwan made it into one by use of the feet, but Adair straight away back onto the stumps, not allowing any room for Rizwan to free his hands. This is a good little contest, showing good skill, good discipline with the ball, making use of the conditions.
Wide. And that really was Balbirnie who came in quickly across Harry Tector. End of the over. We've had 3 overs. It's 23 for 2.
Give me 5.
Be interesting to see the approach of Fakhar Zaman. Generally, he's known to play one way, but lately he likes to take a little bit of time. You all know that finding big shots for him, finding boundaries for him is not a problem. But once he gets into that hitting zone, little happening off the pitch, this is a very important phase of the game.
Well, I use the word desperation for Rizwan because that's what he does. You're going to get the unorthodox actions from Fakhar Zaman. That's what he does. He's unorthodox. He'll try and climb on top of Graham Hume so that he will not allow the bowler to bowl to him.
When he first burst onto the scene, those kind of deliveries were his favorite deliveries because he didn't line them up. He just stayed onside of the ball and opened the offside up. Since he was found out that he was slightly weak at his body, people started to cramp him up. And in improving his onside game, he's kind of lost that side of it a little bit. He was kind of orthodox opener, I say, because he was mainly an offside player when he first burst onto the scene. Now, lately, he's become that big hitter that targets onside pretty much all the time. And his big shots are all now towards the onside, so he's kind of lost that cut and drive that he used to have at the beginning of his career.
Rizwan, 9 deliveries for his 13. I've seen the ball moving around. This is where I felt that island seamers would be a handful on a pitch which has just got a little extra juice in it, some rain. Ben White, the leg spinner, he's up inside the circle. That's a typical Rizwan shot. He goes down on one leg. He almost gets under the ball.
Yeah, and probably will be in the firing line if he gets hold of one, because he generally plays slightly behind square. There is protection square of the wicket on the onside, right on the fence. If he's picking that pick-up shot, generally goes behind square. If Hume stays in line, doesn't matter which length, Rizwan is going to go. Wicket has also gone back. So fine leg is up in the ring. Third is up in the ring as well.
He's going to open that little box of tricks that he has, and he's running around the crease, and you're never quite sure where in the crease he's going to be when the ball arrives. So you've got to back yourself as a bowler. Dot ball or a couple of dot balls against Rizwan. Little jack in the box he is. Graham Hume. And as he caught it this time, somehow that has flown over a fine third man, and it's gone for 6. Rizwan-esque.
Did it come off the back of the bat? Because he was aiming for that familiar flick of his towards onside, but it went over third. Very interesting to see. I think it came off the back of the bat. Look at that hand speed, though. He was no half measures there. So the length went after it, although the execution wasn't there. But the result
must be a hockey player. Must have been a hockey player, hey, Rizwan? At some stage in his life?
Not that I know of.
Looks for it leg side again. And it's 4. Some good runs coming for Pakistan at the end of that 4th over. It's 4 for 2. Right now, Mohammad Rizwan is the key component for Pakistan. It's Craig Young, the medium pacer, right arm medium pace, just above medium pace. Again, he's one of those Irish medium pace bowlers who can move the ball around.
Kind of suited for this pitch as well.
Yeah,
I thought
absolutely.
Pakistan's extra pace also went against them. Came on to the bat a bit better. The nature of the pitch, the kind of pitch is pulling it a little bit up if you're not that quick and making stroke play difficult. All action packed this first 4.1 overs from Pakistan, couple of wickets, but one thing is quite different in the approach is that they're not holding back. Like I said earlier, they were guilty of doing that, or they were perceived to be holding back if a wicket or two fell inside the power play. Not today.
No, absolutely not. That's the way that Azam likes to play. Oh, that sounded so good. Flew off the bat of Azam.
That military medium pace just to his liking, just got underneath it. Very, very strong bottom hand. And although there was protection there, but he took the fielder on and cleared him with. Keeping up with greatest Pakistan.
Yes, even though they've lost these 2 wickets, Saim Ayub and Babar Azam, the rate is maintained, is being maintained at just about 10 and over. That's the required rate. 9.87. 194 the target.
Rizwan, who's been more belligerent, I have a feeling that he will be lining Young up as well. Anything, any straight around a good length, Rizwan will be itching to go big.
Chops it down to third. It's 4.
Boundaries are absolutely flying here at Clontarf. Pakistan recovering through Rizwan and Fakhar Zaman. Not a lot of room on offer. The thick outside edge. Rizwan will take the boundary. He's off to a very good start.
Playing it so late. Key to that shot.
Fast hands too.
I think that's too high.
Hello.
I'm not sure Craig Young will enjoy being engaged in conversation with Rizwan.
Was he asking like, hello, what you doing?
I think he was just telling him it was too high. I think Mark Young said, or Craig Young said, let the umpire decide, not you. Down he comes, and it's a swish and a miss. Oh, it's a little bit of gamesmanship going on. 45 for 2, 5 gone.
A recovery from Pakistan after the loss of those early 2 wickets. It's one of their big guns, Mohammad Rizwan, leading the way. There's a one flourish from Fakhar Zaman alongside it. They need a partnership to get into this contest. Ireland finding early wickets through Mark Adair and Graham Hume. It feels like the 5 bowlers and 5 bowlers alone tactic has been well and truly thrown out the window by Ireland, as Curtis Camphor it's going to be as early as the 6th over. Probably an early good evening, really. Isabel Joyce joining me. Is he Ireland on top?
They are, but Pakistan are taking the attack to them now. 2 overs have gone for 11 in a row since those wickets have fallen. Floated delivery from Curtis Camphor, somewhat surprising. Zaman. I like this from Ireland, though, not just sticking with the 3 bowlers in the power play if it's not working, being able to adjust it, figuring things out, I guess, ahead of the World Cup, but focus very much on this series and what it would mean to Ireland to win a series against Pakistan at all, let alone at home. So the focus for these 11 men on the field is victory here.
This is a golden opportunity. Don't think we can say it enough. Use of the feet, but skews a little off the inside edge, so it'll just be a single. It won't. It'll be a couple. That was, I'll have to say, a pretty poor misfield from Graham Hume, and Ireland who've been exceptional, barring maybe just the one drop in that first T20. Be too pleased with that, Paul Stirling. Graham Hume might make his way to the naughty step.
Yeah, well, it's one of those where you sometimes when the ball goes up in the air or it's hit in an awkward position, you can tell by the approach of the fielder that they're a chance to misfield it or to drop it, and that very much had that about it. Didn't look comfortable, Graham Hume.
Yeah, in terms of T20I series wins for Ireland, it's really only been Afghanistan and Zimbabwe of the full members. They have got wins over Kenya and Papua New Guinea as well. But I think the speculation would be that maybe one of Ireland's biggest ever T20I wins 2 days ago would certainly be Ireland's biggest ever T20I series win if they could pull it off.
100%. And it's been a case of that one-dayers have been where Ireland's strength has been in the last few years. Some close losses and a victory over South Africa in the recent past.
Yeah, that's very clever batting because there's no one in the deep on the offside. It may well have gone all the way. Indeed it has. The 50 comes up in real style. It's been kind of boom or bust for Zaman so far. It's another maximum for him. And Pakistan well and truly getting this chase into gear.
Well, this is a frustrating one for a captain because this is definitely not what Curtis Camper was supposed to bowl, with the fielders all up on the offside. Two fielders out on the leg side. He would have asked his bowler to bowl tight in at the stumps, but it's pushed across the left-handed batter and he just helps it up and over. You don't get much easier ones than that at this level. 18 from 9 for Zaman. Rizwan also 30 from 18, so Ireland will want to break this partnership because they're going at some rate.
Camper does get out of his over. He'll be pleased with that. Just a single to... In fact, there's still delivery to go. So maybe that misfield could end up being costly, particularly if Rizwan can cash in. Pakistan have had problems in the power play. Certainly wasn't fluent in the first 6 overs, and nor was it against New Zealand. What was it, 38 for 1 in that first game?
Yeah, 38 for 1 from Pakistan. Ireland's power plays have been 43 for 2 and 55 for 2. So better from Ireland today, but this is much better from Pakistan today. They have 1 delivery remaining in the power play and already on 56 for 2. So big improvement there.
And this has gone miles up. Now who's going to get to it? Graham Hume's the man who puts it down. How big a moment could that be? Ireland's fielding immaculate in the first T20. 2 misfields in the over, including that massive drop catch. What a moment, rounds out the power play. 57 for 2. Just got one more look at the drop. That has to be taken at this level.
It does. He didn't go about that very well, Graham Hume. You can see from the way he ended up after he dropped it, he was lying on his back. We saw what you should do in the game on Friday with Barry McCarthy, who timed his dive perfectly, coming forward from long on. That's what you want to do in that position. He actually nearly got too close to it, Graham Hume. You need to be that bit further away so you can dive forward, or you want to be settled underneath it. One of those two. You don't want to be moving when you catch the ball. So that's what went wrong for Graham Hume there.
Yeah, the sunshine just maybe flattening that track out. It's definitely had a decent sprinkle, hasn't it, just towards the end of that first innings. Pakistan will feel as though they're in the hunt. The required run rates come down under 10 per over. Just feels to me as he might have another final over thriller on our hands. If Rizwan is still there anywhere near the deck, you'd have to think Pakistan will fancy their chances of squaring the series.
But when these two bats through, it's very much in Pakistan's favour. Nearing 10, the required run rate, it can be difficult because 1 or 2 quiet overs and that jumps massively, especially in the second half of the innings. Craig Young will be looking to make a comeback here outside the power play. You can have 4 outside the ring, or 5 outside the ring, excuse me.
Izzy, let me put you into Paul Stirling's shoes. We've spoken about the 6th bowler coming in terms of Camphor, but the left-hander at the crease. Are you thinking Harry Tector? We saw Pakistan spinners be economical in the first innings.
Yeah, I think they were really underused actually by Pakistan, only 4 overs between them. And as soon as the faster bowlers came on, Ireland looking much more comfortable.
Well, this is just simply obliterated into the pavilion. A moment to remember for some in the VIP section there. A little bit too easy, it feels like, with the angle. I'm not sure why Craig Young has come around the wickets. It's a man, he's dealing in maximums.
It's just a splendid shot. The balance on the back foot as he swivels around to lift this one over square leg is incredible to see. Around the wicket, he's bowling around the wicket because he has the field set out on the leg side. Mid-wicket, square leg fine out on the boundary, third and cover as well. But he got too short on that occasion. It's made it too easy for Zaman.
Pakistan reapplying the pressure now in a big way to Ireland. It's been a wonderful game and a half we've enjoyed so far, hasn't it been? The way in which it's ebbed and flowed.
At no point has anyone looked consistently for a long period of time on top. In Ireland's innings, they started well, then lost a couple of wickets. Then there were quiet overs from overs 8, 9, 10, 11 even. And then the seamers came back, and there was an over of 21 that was particularly memorable for the wrong reasons if you're a Pakistan fan, for the right reasons if you're an Ireland fan. So the continuation of that is being shown here.
It almost feels like every time one side gets in front, the other just comes back at them, and it does feel a touch like even if Pakistan are going to get there, it could well be quite late in the 20 overs that they have to work with. What's the key here for Ireland? It's got to be taking the pace off the ball. You'd imagine that the wicket, not too pace, but it's been helping when the paces have taken the pace off.
It's not being predictable. I think that's something that is difficult not to be because the teams will know each other better. Top edge, it's steepling. It's Hume coming underneath it again. Takes it, drops it on the third opportunity. Well, it's a horror show for Graham Hume because he's misfielded one and dropped two. As Ireland are just throwing chances away here. Zaman, well, Rizwan was dropped the first time. This time, it's another drop.
Oh, you're just not going to believe this, are you? It's twice in 2 overs, and at international standards, they are regulation opportunities. You may well see the most remarkable reaction in the background. One of the Irish support staff trying to get an eye on who it was. I think it might be Mark Rowsa. He thought it was taken, and then, oh no, despair for Ireland. They could have had Rizwan and Zaman. In the case of just short period of 2 overs, instead, it's Hume, both times the guilty party. How often do you see this happen? A kick of the turf in frustration. Ireland being run ragged. They've had their chances, they've given them away. It's a big, big over. It's 71 for 2. Well, a quite remarkable couple of overs. Graham Hume has put down 2 of Pakistan's best batters. Many will argue alongside Babar Azam, it's really Mohammad Rizwan, the star of the show. We saw him exceptional again this year in the PSL.
Zaman over 200 strike rate. That drop catch, the 2 drop catches could be costly. At the moment, it's only worth, the 2 of them are only worth 7 runs. Rizwan dropped on 31. Zaman dropped on 26.
Now the problem and the challenge for Paul Stirling, and indeed his 2 primary spinning options, which are the wrist spinners, Ben White and Gareth Delaney, is the left-hander is still at the crease. He's been given that life by Hume. In fairness, some sympathy with him with the slightly greasy ball and the showers that we've had around, but really at the international level you'd expect both to be taken. Ireland know that it's a golden opportunity. Is it slipping through their fingers quite literally here? If anything now, Pakistan favourites from this position, less than 10 runs required per over, 2 set batters, albeit having had lives. Ben White will have a very tall task against the left-handed Fakhar Zaman now. And you'll see a lot of this. You'll see them either sliding on or sometimes out of the back of the hand. They'll probably bowl more of those than leg breaks to the left-hander.
Absolutely. Cover, in fact, it's a deep point is on the boundary here in front of us. So the space is between extra cover and that point fielder. That's the googly sending it across. So he'll try and bowl into that wide position. Difficult to get the ball in the air for the left-hander from there. Good start from White. Started 2 straight in the game on Friday. Got hit for 6 in the first ball of his first 2 overs. So better start from him here.
I just wondered, I know it brought about a wicket-taking opportunity from Young. I just wondered, was the spinner the right option to go with for the 7th over? These middle overs from 7 to 14 or 15 before the slog at the death, they'll be critical. Good skills, and Hume, well, makes up somewhat for those 2 drops. The good diving stop probably saved at least a single, if not more than that.
Great watchfulness from the big man. kept his eye on the ball right till the last second. Always difficult to field in those positions behind the bat when a leg spinner is bowling.
Almost a chance, just out of the grasp. I think it fell short of Craig Young, and a good piece of relay fielding may almost bring about a run-out opportunity. It's going to be 2 to the total. It could have been the third wicket. Don't think it quite carried.
No, I think it just dropped short. It was a good effort from Craig Young. A pity, actually, he didn't think to go with George Dockrell there, who flicked the ball back to him, because had he been closer, the throw to the non-striker's end could have been dangerous.
It's better from White. The previous one was a real drag down, got away with it. Get a little bit of everything with Ben White, but I just love the difference between the two leg spinners. They're so different in terms of the style in which they bowl, and White's stock for me has really risen over the last 12 months or so.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Ben White. Big fan of having a leg spinner in the team. For so long we didn't have one. That one sliding across and does find the fielder in the deep. So the end of a decent first over for White. After 8, Pakistan 76 for 2.
Well, a really special series, this, the Floki Ireland v Pakistan T20I series. Just speaking of this series and its importance, the great relationships between the two countries, Isabella was out in the crowd just having a walk around, and great to see one of the innovations from the Cricket Ireland are encouraging is alongside the Irish Kidney Association. They're encouraging members of the Irish and Pakistani community here in Ireland to become organ donors. So a big thanks to Usman Haroon for organising that and putting that together. We hope that you really enjoy this day out and help to raise that awareness, the importance of organ transplants. Curtis Camphor is going to continue. In fact, he'll come back in, a change of ends for him. He'll come in from the PJ Hughes end of the ground. Now, are you surprised to see a lack of a second spinner? Is it screaming out here, for us anyway, for Harry Tector?
Well, I think this is Stirling's answer to that, is the medium pace of Curtis Camphor. He'll bowl some change-ups. He's going to bowl to the longer boundaries. You'll see him bowling a little bit shorter and trying to get the batters to hit to the cover and square, because those are the longer boundaries. What they don't want is the opportunity to hit down the ground where it's very short, so they won't bowl Harry Tector from this end, I don't think. They'll only maybe replace White with him.
I think it's a really good spot, actually. The encouragement is to try and force both of these batters, left and right-handed, hit the ball square. That's why, particularly with the really short straight boundary, they're keeping both mid-off and mid-on up in the circle.
Well, as you say, long off goes back, but it's one of those where actually sometimes there's no point in having long off and long on, because if it's hit there, it's going over the fielder. So just keep those two up and bowl so that they have to really innovate to get over that gap.
Again, encouraged to hit square, but he does that very nicely. Brilliant work from George Dockrell and partnered by Andy Balbirnie. That's more like the Irish fielding effort we saw in the first innings, nearly making a run-out chance out of nothing.
A brilliant quick release from George Dockrell going to his right, so he might be the wrong fielder to have there, in fact. Unless you think it's going to get hit the other side of him, maybe he should be swapping with one of the right-handed fielders. Mark Adair perhaps is in deep mid-wicket for the left-hander. But it's difficult when there's a left-right-hand combination, because it's always changing which side of you that you think the batter's going to hit.
Yeah, you don't want your fielders to be running 120 yards every time there's a single. Even the hyper-fit members of this Irish squad, the likes of Harry Tector, don't want to be doing that. It's clever bowling. There's a stare back at the umpire from Fakir Zaman, but he's done this intentionally, isn't he? He's bowled it right into the surface, flirts with the guideline, gets away with it. It's
something that I think right arm bowlers don't do enough, bowl over the wicket to left-handers and use that wide line, pushing it across and playing with that width, because it does feel as a right-hander, or a left-hander, that it's going to be a wide, but it does stay just inside for long enough that you don't go for a wide.
That required run rate's just snuck back over 10 per over. Amazing how even a quiet over or two just seemed to affect the required numbers so heavily. And much like the first innings where we saw Ireland go through a lull in overs 8, 9 and 10, this is kind of replicating that now from Pakistan.
Well, it's something I talk about all the time is once you get into the second half, you just need one quiet over to put pressure massively on, because one over that's markedly below the required run rate just adds those runs needed into the following overs. It seems so obvious, but it's just what it does to the batters in the middle in terms of the pressure that's being put on.
Just discussing whether or not to drop one of long off or long on back, but they'll stick with the tactic of having them hang right on the edge of the circle. That will mean that fine leg remains in place, and it's a sprawling effort down there from Ben White, but he's fumbled it away from him, which will allow the second. I think Ireland will be pretty happy with that over overall. It's only 7 from it. The score 83 for 2.
Yeah, 83 for 2. Ireland were 80 for 2 at the same point. So they're neck and neck here, Ireland and Pakistan. A good quiet over though, 7 runs from it. The next over for Ireland only went for 4, so big pressure on. Ben White needs to go for just 4 to match the same over in the Ireland innings. Really quiet area there for Ireland, but it's different animal chasing, isn't it? Because those quiet overs in there, when you know what you need to get, just pile the pressure on. Whereas I think Ireland were thinking 170, 180 would have been enough, so they wouldn't have felt quite as bad about those quiet overs.
I think the other thing to remember on top of that is the fact that there's real power to come. I know we didn't see much from Azam the other day, but he's prolific in his ball striking. Iftikhar Ahmed maybe as devastating as Pakistan have in the middle, and Mohammad was aiming like no shit slouch either. But for Ireland, what they're trying to do is just apply the pressure. They created those 2 opportunities, both of which were put down by Graham Hume. They can find a window. What can they exploit in that Pakistan middle order? See Morgan Tucker working a lot with the angles there. That's the Ireland vice captain. This one's floated up, brave bowling. Rizwan wanted to slog sweep it all the way out towards the pavilion. Doesn't get anything of it.
It's interesting he's just done that, because what I was thinking was that Ireland have managed in the last few overs to force Pakistan to try something different. Before that, they'd just been standing and hitting. Now Ireland trying to force them to find boundaries from somewhere. No easy boundaries coming.
Cut away, but protection out there, deep backward. Another fumble. Ireland just getting a little sloppy in the field at points. The ball may well be a touch greasy. That's the matchup they want, isn't it? They want Zaman to take on Ben White.
They do. They want him to try and hit down the ground. That's the longer hit. That's why White is bowling from that end, the castle end. But they also feel like he might run past it. Lots of googlies and sliders being bowled by Ben White.
You almost see him growing in stature, can't you? Every appearance for Ireland, Ben White. Beautiful bowling. Now, I used to bowl wrist spinners, you know. I didn't pick that out of the back of the hand, and it should have been easier to pick from behind. I can guarantee you, Mohammad Rizwan didn't pick that either. He thought it was a leg break. It's cut him in half. Great skills.
Just jumps across. Brilliant skills, because as a leg spinner, when you pull one of those off, I'd imagine, not being one myself, when you pull one of those deliveries off against a top-class batter, it just gives you that resolve to continue with leg spin and continue in the team. And it's always tough for a leg spinner. I feel like you have as many bad games as you have good ones, so you need those little wins.
Yeah, it was always what appealed to me, was making the batsman look like a fool if he could. Didn't happen too often for me, but that's the halfway stage of the chase. That's an exceptional over. Brilliant from Ben White, just 4 singles from it. Game hangs in the balance. It's 87 for 2.
Game on here at Clontarf in this second T20 International. Mohammad Rizwan is 43 from 30 and Fakhar Zaman 35 from 23. 107 runs required in the last 10 overs. It really is game on. Bowlers have to be brave now. 87 for 2. Chances have gone down. How expensive. Graham Hume has spilled 2 of them. And it's those kind of chances, and you look back and you think that's where we lost the game, but you've got to forget that, put it in the back of your mind and reboot.
That's a difficult thing to do sometimes if you've dropped 2 catches like that. One man who has been brave, Alan, is Ben White. He's bowled beautifully. 2 overs for 8, varied his pace, bowled wicket to wicket. And again, as this run rate extends, that's really what Ireland have got to do, and have to take their chances.
No, absolutely. Both 2 overs of leg spin to the likes of Mohammad Rizwan and Fakhar Zaman. You know, conceding 8. You've done a wonderful job for your skipper. Now, Fakhar Zaman, 35 from 23. Curtis Camphor, the bowler. Smashes it. Absolutely brutalizes this from Camphor. You don't want to be in the way of that.
The power with which these players hit the ball now. Fakhar Zaman, that went like a bullet.
Gosh. I think he decided early on, maybe about there, that this is going to disappear. There, look at that. Almost his feet were off the floor. Chips it past the man at short third. It's 4 more.
And the worry, is this going to be a no ball? It'll be interesting to see. I don't know whether there was a signal from Aidan Seaver, but it looked certainly above hip high. Yes, indeed. And that is a free hit. That's exactly what you don't want if you're Ireland.
Pressure on bowlers here, even though their asking rate is, it's up around the 9. So dangerous to bowl to, Fakhar Zaman. Doesn't matter. It's a no ball. It's a free hit. Doesn't matter. Paul Stirling knew it.
Just games can move away from you, Alan, in T20 cricket. You've just got to hold your nerve. And again, whilst we've played 2020 cricket, every kind of tournament, every type of friend, it's evolving the whole time differently.
Ooh, Rizwan. He is so inventive. You don't quite know as a bowler. You're probably thinking, what's he going to do next? He improvises so well. Down on one knee. I asked Fezol in the last commentary stint, I said, was he a hockey player? He must have played some hockey, because he gets into these incredible positions and he's so strong. 100 up, 10.4 overs. It's pretty much on a par with what Ireland did. .55 balls remaining, 93 to win, 8 wickets in hand. You'd think that Pakistan had this. It's a big statement. 1 wicket here, 1 catch there, 1 run out. Things change. Catch. Catches have gone down.
2 catches, 2 vital catches. Both these players have got themselves a second chance. Both to the same man, Graham Hume. Steepling catches. 101 for 2 at the end of 11. So if you're joining us, Pakistan required 98 from 54 deliveries, 8 wickets in hand. On a beautiful balmy finish to this game. And there's your scorecard. Ireland starting ever so well. The big issue between this partnership is they've both had chances. And the game incredibly evenly poised, Alan.
Some big hitters to come though. Azam Khan, Iftikhar. Here's Ben White, the leg spinner. Rizwan goes after him. That is a mighty blow. Over the clubhouse for 6.
And that is a huge hit. It's probably to the longest part of the ground, and it's way up into the balcony there. Probably just a little bit full from Ben White, who's had 2 fantastic overs to this point. And you could see them scurrying up there at the top. 50 for Rizwan from 34 deliveries.
Straight this time, straight back over Ben White's head. It's 4, a 6 and a 4, and he's going after the leg spinner. He's got to hold his nerve here, young Ben White. It's a baptism of fire in this against these players. Rizwan is well travelled and he's so experienced. It's gone wider this time, that's well done. Rizwan. I know some fielders would have said, leave the ball alone, we'll field it. He just wants more of it, doesn't he?
He does.
He feels it.
Get it back to the bowler quickly.
Right. Again, you see how he shifted across the crease. He probably knew that Ben White was going to bowl it wide, drift wide. But I think Ben White here, even though he's been hit for a 6 and a 4, I think he's got to feel now, I've got a chance against Zaman. Can I get my googly out? Can I get the one to go past the outside edge of the left-hander?
Well,
be brave. Be brave, Ben White. He dragged it down a little bit. Oh dear, who's that?
it's Andrew Balbirnie. Fumble, really. These are the sorts of things, these
Just
little
little
moments,
things that add up.
moments, they add up. And you're under enormous pressure in this format of the game, and your fielding is so important. Partnership 101 now between these pair.
That's the one I'm thinking of, you see. The one that drifts past the outside edge. 114 for 2.
Well, welcome back, Pakistan. 114 for 2. And there you are, the vital partnership. Isabel, who has joined me, replacing Alan Wilkins temporarily. This one, 51 from 34. Zaman, 46. Both got lives, of course, Isabel.
Yes, Graham Hune about now will be wanting the ground to swallow him up. Every run, a dagger to the heart. Craig Young now. Lifted over mid-on. 1 bounce and 4 runs to start off. This Craig Young, this White over. Sorry, Young over.
Unfortunate start that for Craig Young. Harry Tector scampering back, thinking he might have just got to it, because he didn't get all of that, Rizwan. But he got enough to get the boundary, and really, you're probably thinking now, Isabel, it's Pakistan's to lose.
Absolutely. Well, 14 and 13 in the previous 2 overs, and they start this over with a boundary. At the same time, Ireland 98 for 3. So Pakistan well ahead. Ireland have to recognise the fact that this game isn't gone, as they're just trying to figure out if this is 4 or 6. From our angle, it certainly looked like it bounced inside the rope. And there's the signal, 4 runs. It's a little pause and play and gives an opportunity to Young to figure out what his next plan is. Mid-off, mid-on, stay up in the ring. And he pulls his length back. They'll look to get 2. Harry Tector comes around, keeps it to 1. So put your captain's hat on, Alan. I know you love to do that. What would you be doing now? What's the bowling changes that you'd be bringing about?
Well, I certainly think Ben White should bowl another over. He deserves it. And you've got to get through that, whether with the left-hander in, whether, Stirling himself as captain has been asked before, will he bowl? I'm always amazed why he doesn't. Harry Tector, just something different. But it's really just to try and see what again, as you've said, mid-on and mid-off are up. So that tells you, like the first delivery that Craig bowled, was that probably that little bit too full when you're defending square of the wicket.
Better pace from Young on that occasion. Really rushes Zaman, who seems amazed it's not a wide. Needs to focus on hitting the next one.
Well, it kind of just shows you, and again, we're not going to see, whether we will see, but for Seaver, everyone is under pressure. And again, in the early part of his umpiring career at this level,
Young bowls it into the hitting arc of Zaman. He brings about his 50 in style. That's both batsmen who have been given a life out in this match, who have crossed the 50 mark.
and that's one interesting thing tactically, because Craig Young in essence is bowling into Zaman's arc there. It's an area that he profits so heavily from in all forms of the game. Such a destructive player. And obviously the choice to come round the wicket, you really want to try and see, can he fetch that from
That's about
stump?
About the field as well. There's a deep backward point, deep cover, but third inside the ring. It's a difficult field to bowl to. Into the hitting arc again. Fielder comes around, but Curtis Camphor can't cut it off, so it's a 6 followed by a boundary.
And certainly Craig Young is under the pump here in a big way. And it is an onslaught, is all you can say. And that equation is becoming incredibly favourable for Pakistan now.
Harry Tector coming up and having a chat with Craig Young. I don't think Ireland's seamers have used their slower balls enough today. Been a little bit predictable. Brains just coming together now to discuss what they think they should do. The field will change. Going to come over the wicket now, Craig Young.
Well, that's a good point you make. Is he really to try and get these cutters going across Zaman? It's something that Pakistan did in the latter part of their bowling efforts. Oh dear, that's gone miles.
More of the same. Another maximum off the bat of Zaman. It's an expensive over for Ireland. 21 from it.
Well, that has gone a long, long way, and it could actually be out of the car park here. Or certainly a car is in grave danger, but it's 135 for 2 at the end of 13. So the ball has been retrieved. The umpire was coming out with the box, but they've got the original ball back. And there we are, the Pakistan faithful in the crowd, loving this energy that these two players are bringing. These two heroes, these two people they love. The passion, everything that is so good about Pakistan cricket has been exemplified here an exuberant crowd. They were here as early as we were coming into the ground, Isabel. They're a joy to watch, the joy they bring to the game. They play with such freedom. They're so temperamental is the wrong word, but they have good days and they have bad days. They never seem to get too fussed when they have bad days. Never seem to get too fussed when they have good days. But we're seeing a good day here and a brilliant partnership between Rizwan and Zaman.
You can never count them out, Pakistan. 13 for 2 they were early on in the piece. Those two still out in the middle. 135 for 2. Mark Adair now from the Castle End. Starts out with a slower ball. I think he's been listening to you, Alan Lewis.
Well, there's one thing you'll get from Mark Adair, and that is variety. There will be a lot of variety. He's become an incredibly skillful bowler, particularly in the last year. He's developed an in-swinger now that, again, even in the early part of bowling to Babar, he oohs and ahs, which, again, is another part of his mantra.
He's got third and fine inside the ring with 2 straights right, so expect some fuller deliveries. It is full and blasted down the ground, but not hit with any great conviction. Well, the fielding woes continue for Ireland. Harry Tector this time, the fielding trolls are out because Ireland at this stage look like they can't pick the ball up cleanly.
Well, I think a lot of this is, and again, Harry Tector not happy with something. I don't know why he's not happy with, but whether it's tactics, different things, I don't know, but you just need to concentrate on picking up the ball. But this is the type of pressure that affects people in different ways.
Well, the fielders were brought up on that occasion. Curtis Camphor, it is who fields at no real danger, as that one just goes for a single. So a good start to the spell from Mark Adair as he looks to claw Ireland back into this match. Pakistan in the ascendancy, 138 for 2, just 56 from 39, which from where they were at the 2 over mark, 17 for 2. Quite a difference, Alan.
Yeah, but they just don't seem to get fussed anymore. Ireland lost 2 quick wickets. Stirling and Balbirnie went in quick succession. People just keep going now.
A full toss, help down the ground, bisects the field as they can't cut that one off. Camphor and Tector, well, they just can't cut it off. So another 4 for Pakistan.
Well, they're going toe-to-toe here, Rizwan and Zaman. It's blow after blow.
It was Rizwan, wasn't it? He was well out in front, but Zaman, he's overtaken him, 67 now, from just 35 deliveries. What can Mark Adair do now? Oh, another change-up that seems to have bamboozled Tucker behind the stumps. But he manages to kick it to Ben White at third.
This man is showing a lot of glares to umpires. He shifted across there. He was looking to get Adair away to leg. Now holding back Rowley Black, vast experience now. Top class umpire, Rowley Black.
Another full toss. Hit down the ground, but high on the bat, so just the single to close out that over from Mark Adair. Just the boundary and 4 singles in it. 14 overs done, and Pakistan 143 for 2.
So the onslaught continues.